Edward was an unfortunate man. In his childhood, due to poor family conditions, he lost the opportunity to study and could only make a living by selling newspapers, working as a grocery store clerk or assistant librarian. Many years later, he finally started his own business, but ended up burdened with massive debts after guaranteeing for a bankrupt friend. When he was preparing to use all his assets to pay off the debt, the large bank where all his wealth was stored suddenly collapsed. His career, his wealth, everything turned to dust in an instant. God's joke was played too big this time, and Edward collapsed under this heavy blow. He fell ill, and all the doctors were unable to treat him. Helpless, he had to write his will and wait for death. Well, since I'm going to die anyway, why not think of some happy things? Edward comforted himself while recalling those trivial moments of happiness from his childhood to adulthood. As time passed day by day, strangely, instead of dying, he started getting better day by day. Several months later, he, who could not even move before, was able to get out of bed and walk like a normal person. With his recovery, Edward realized a truth. He no longer dwelled on past failures or worried about tomorrow's setbacks. Instead, he focused wholeheartedly on seizing the present day and working hard. As a result, his career rapidly developed. In a few years, he had become the chairman of the Vance Industrial Company. No one can change the facts of yesterday, and no one can predict tomorrow's circumstances. But today is something anyone can grasp. By seizing each moment of today, we can live a fulfilling life. Facing life calmly, there was a girl who often complained to her father that everything she encountered was always so difficult. She didn't know how to deal with it. As if one problem was just solved, another one appeared. One day, the father took her to the kitchen and poured water into 3 pots, then brought it to a boil. He put carrots in the first pot, eggs in the second pot, and ground coffee beans in the last pot, carefully placing them in and boiling water over them without saying a word. The girl, seeing this, kept grumbling and impatiently waited, not understanding what her father was up to. About 20 minutes later, the father turned off the heat, put the carrots and eggs in separate bowls, and scooped the coffee into a cup. After doing this, he finally turned to his daughter and asked, "My dear, what do you see?" "Carrots, eggs, and coffee," the girl replied. He asked her to come closer, to feel the carrots with her hand, and she found that they had become soft. Then, he had the daughter take the egg, break it, and peel off the shell to reveal the cooked egg inside. Finally, the father had her take a sip of the coffee, and as she tasted the rich coffee, the girl finally smiled. The father said, "These 3 things were all exposed to the same boiling water, but their reactions were different. The carrot was strong and firm before entering the pot, but it became soft in the boiling water. The egg was fragile, with only a thin shell protecting it, but once boiled, its insides hardened. As for the ground coffee beans, they were unique. After entering the boiling water, they completely changed the water's nature." Similarly, when facing challenges, people may feel suppressed or overlooked, but if they abandon their beliefs due to temporary setbacks, life will become an empty shell, never blooming with hope. To reap rewards, One must be adept at self-adjustment in both favorable and adverse circumstances. In the face of hardship and adversity, you can learn from the egg and coffee beans. Though they appear fragile, they have strong interiors. Face difficulties with calmness, grow stronger in adversity, and emit a fragrant aroma in the midst of suffering. On the path of life, a mistake or setback can often push you to a dead end, sometimes even altering your entire life trajectory. In reality, setbacks are often dramatic moments. Behind every hardship and problem lies a greater blessing. Therefore, in times of adversity, even when stuck in the mud, learn to be grateful, know when to get up, and move far away from that mud pit. Creating miracles in adversity. The annual carnival market is about to kick off, and Jimmy, a vendor selling pancakes, is eagerly preparing to showcase his skills at the carnival with full confidence, aiming to make some good money. As the carnival begins as scheduled, just as Jimmy expected, the steaming hot pancakes drizzled with sweet honey, emitting a rich aroma, attracted many people who gathered around Jimmy's stall, making his business thrive so much that nearby ice cream vendors turned green with envy. Jimmy's business continued to flourish, but as they say, when it rains, it pours. The supplier who had been reliably providing him with paper plates could no longer do so due to a nationwide paper industry strike. With his paper plate stock depleted by the daily high demand, Jimmy faced a crisis in his business. Unable to serve pancakes to customers without paper plates, Jimmy tried to use napkins as substitutes, but customers were unhappy, as the napkins tended to get sticky with honey when placed under the pancakes, making eating inconvenient. With customers complaining continuously, Jimmy's business gradually declined until no one visited his stall anymore. Seeing that there was still a considerable amount of time left in the carnival period, and having already paid the stall rent with no business to conduct, the ice cream vendor next to him kindly suggested that Jimmy help sell ice cream instead. Forced by circumstances, Jimmy reluctantly purchased some ice cream from the neighboring vendor at a higher price to sell, in order to cover his stall expenses. After doing business this way for a few days, Jimmy thought to himself that at least the ice cream business wasn't booming. However, he realized that if the ice cream business picked up, he would still need a large quantity of paper cups to serve the ice cream. In case of another paper industry strike, his business would once again be at risk, and his fate would be controlled by others. Concerned about this, Jimmy put his mind to work. He tried to connect the only thing he knew how to make, pancakes, with the ice cream he was currently selling. It struck him that if he could flatten the pancakes a bit to make them sturdier, and then roll the compacted pancakes into a cone shape, he could use them to serve ice cream. This way, customers could enjoy both the cold, sweet ice cream and the crispy, delicious pancakes. A win-win situation. Inspired by adversity, Jimmy once again became the most successful vendor at the carnival, inventing the world-famous ice cream cone in the process. Many miracles happen when we take action. Only by doing can miracles occur. Never bow down in the face of difficulty. Only by overcoming it can you reap life's rewards.